Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be on the process I use to mount parts and bodies and body panels to get ready for priming and painting. When we're at the shows, like I say, sometimes people ask me what process I use to mount my parts to prep them for painting and so forth. So I'm sure what we're going to look at today, some of it's going to be common to a lot of you, some of it may be new. And like I said, there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just everybody's preference how they do it. But anyway, we're going to look at the different processes I use to mount the parts and what I use in that process. So anyway, we're going to turn the camera around and we're going to take a look at that. So with that, let's get building. Alright everybody, so again, welcome back to the channel. And this video is going to be on how I mount a lot of my parts and bodies and everything to do with the kit to paint it and get ready to prime it and paint it, of course, and whether it's a small part all the way up to the body, chassis, whatever. A lot of times at the shows I'll get in a discussion with other builders, and we discuss different ways that everybody mounts their parts and so forth. And then I've had guys come up and ask me some of the techniques I use. So I'm going to go over some of what I do and show you how I mount different parts depending on the shape of it or how small it is and so forth, I've got several different things that I use. I don't use just one or two right straight through every kit. So I've got it all sort of scattered out across my bench right now, and I'm just going to grab stuff in no sequence or no rhyme or reason and go over stuff. So just sit tight and we'll get through this. I guess first off, I'll show you some of the small parts. These are actually some parts I got going on a motorcycle right now. It's a Yamaha YRZ MI. It's an 04 model. I'll show you some of the body panels on it here in a little bit. But anyway, one of the biggest things I use and get a whole lot of use out of is toothpicks. I'll show you like some of these right here. These parts right here I use like little super glue, a little dab of super glue to mount on a part where it's not going to be seen. Let's see, like on this one right here. See, my lighting's not very good here today. Let's see if I can. Okay, sorry about this, guys. Let's see here. Sorry. Let's see here. Let me drop it down and see if that'll help. Yeah, okay, that helps a little bit. So anyway, because it's black, you can't really see it, but I'll put a little dab of super glue on the end of a toothpick, and I stick it up inside the part because this is the back side, and when it mounts, you won't see it. I do the same thing like with a oil pan. You might be able to see it better. What I would do is take your toothpick and put a little dab of glue on it, like I said, and stick it down inside the oil pan, especially when the oil pan's separate from the engine block, especially when the transmission's attached, because if you put the oil pan up, you can't really paint all the engine block and the transmission separate. So what I would do is, like I said, put a little dab of glue on the toothpick, and sometimes I'll cut the end off because it's not, the very end down here is not a whole lot to look at or to get attached to. So I'll trim it off back a little bit so it's a little bit bigger, and then I would just stick it in that corner right here, like that right there. So that's how like this part right here was. And then this one, as I said, it's on the back side right here. Like I said, because I painted it black, you can't see it, but this is going to mount to the side of the motorcycle, so you won't really see it. Sometimes you can look out, and like this piece right here, you're able to run the toothpick up through a hole in the part. I know a lot of times, let me see, I had, let's see here, over here, I got some junk stuff pulled out to show you different things. Let me set this down. Sorry guys, I thought I was a little bit more organized than I was today. But a lot of times, like on your fan belt and your pulleys and all, you'll always usually have one pulley that'll have a hole in it. So you would just stick your toothpick up through there. No need to put any glue or anything. It'll mount. You just push it up in there real tight. Like this piece right here, I was able to just push the toothpick up through here, right there. So again, no glues have to use on that. On this piece right here, I was able to put it on the back side, which is going to be the mounting spot. So when you pull the part off the toothpick, just take your knife, just knock a little bit of the glue off to get it back flat, file it off, and then it'll glue right up to your kit, no problem. Once in a blue moon, if it's a real small part or doesn't have much attachment to it, I'll just leave it on the tree, and I'll just cut off, down to a small piece. If I need to know the number of it, like these two parts, I really didn't need to know the number, but I just trimmed it off like that. And when you trim these pieces off, there's not going to be hardly any noticeable where you've got to touch up. So just a very little touch with the paintbrush, and it'll touch right up and you won't be seen. So parts like that, like I said, I'm using some of these motorcycle parts because that's what I've got sitting out right now. I've got several of these gator clips, or alligator clips, what do you want to call them. They're on like a wooden dowel, and that's what I've got this windshield on, because I dipped it in Future. Sorry about that. I'm trying to watch it part and my camera at the same time, guys. But anyway, I've got that on here so I could hold it when I dipped it in the Future, and so forth. I've got 2 or 3 dozen of those, and I've actually got, I'll show you what I use sometimes. I got these at Hobby Lobby. I'm sure all of y'all have seen them. And they come with some alligator clips, and I bought some more, some extra. So like I said, they'll stick right in here and stand up if you need something, like that right there. Let me set this to a side. I use these foam boards. I get all of some of these like at Walmart or either at Michael's, AC Moore, something other like that. I've got all different sizes and lengths and widths, and they do good when you want to stick the toothpicks down in there, or actually you see the bigger holes. That's when I've got bigger parts, like the wheels for the motorcycle, and I've got some body panels over here where I've been decaling. I'm getting ready to clear them, so I stick them down in there. They're good for, like I said, anything. So let's see here, and like I said, very few times do I paint the parts on the tree. I did spray this radiator that's going on the motorcycle. I did spray that on the tree because, again, where it mounts at, it's not going to be noticeable, so that saves from having to attach it somewhere. Let's see here. Grabbit sticks. I get these from, let's see here, Scale Motorsport. And I buy, every time I run up on them at the show, I'll get 4 or 5 packs of these. Most of the time, these are only good for about 1 use. Sometimes you can get a second use out of them, but not often. If you spray anything, if you brush something, you might be able to get a little bit more use. But anyway, it's basically the wax on the end if you've never seen them, and you can just barely touch a part, or you can smash it down a little bit to get a little bit better. It'll flatten out, so to speak. You can get a little bit better attachment. So I do use those quite often. Wooden dowels. I have probably 3 or 4 dozen of these in probably every size imaginable. Because sometimes you don't need but just a little short one. Sometimes you need a little bit bigger, and then sometimes you need really big, like these right here. So I've got them in all kinds of different lengths, and again, most of those I use. Again, I'll show you like some of this motorcycle stuff, just to mount parts, body panels, hoods on cars, I actually use them for my car bodies, which I'll show you here in just a second. So anyway, that's what I use those for. And then sometimes, like bigger parts, I'll show you, like let's see here, let me grab a couple things here. So like on a seat, and here's the seat, back seat, and here's the dash and all that in a car. So what I would do, I would take one of my sticks, and I use 2-inch masking tape, and I use 1-inch masking tape. So what I would do, like let's say I'm going to do this dash right here. So I would put some, I would roll it around, then I reverse it after it gets attached, like that. And then what you can do is on the back side of the dash is just mash it down in there, like that right there, and you're good to go, like that. And occasionally, let's see here, like on a seat, sometimes it's hard to get let's see here, the wooden stick or the dowel to stick up in here. So what I'll do, I'll just show you that real quick. Sometimes you have to use a double piece. So let's see, let me take, we'll wrap that around and reverse it so you got the sticky side out. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to get another little short piece, and we're going to roll that out so everything's still sticky, and then stick that down in the bottom like that. And then when you've got a piece down in the seat and a piece on the wooden dowel, then you're good to go. Sometimes you don't have to do that, but sometimes you have to use the double, or the one on the stick plus the one under the seat or on the back side or something. And again, when you paint all this, none of it's going to be visible, so you know, it really doesn't matter. Same thing with the back seat. I would run it across right here. Probably put the second piece right here to make sure I got a good bite in it, or use it up here in the corner. If you can get a corner like that, it really helps. Let's see, let me grab this right. Like if you could get up in here, I'm not going to put the tape on it because I sort of showed you what would do. But you would put it on here and then get right here, and you got a good bite then. Let's see here. So on like one of these chassis like this, again, the same thing. You're going to put some masking tape on your stick, and I probably would run it around right here. Sometimes these chassis pans like this actually have the interior right here. Sometimes it don't, when you've got the tub, like the interior tub that's going to sit here. So in those cases, it does, if the interior tub's going to sit here, it doesn't really matter what you see right here. So you could run your tape across right here. But what I would do is roll out a pretty bigger piece and put it down, so sticky side up. And I would put it again on my wooden dowel. And then you've got a good hold all the way across here. So you can hold that thing and spray all your chassis, do whatever you need to do right there like that. Again, if it interior tub is right here, depends on what you're spraying. If you're just doing your chassis and all that, if you spray this real light, you're not going to get too much up here. And then what I would do is tape off around here to spray my interior collar, if this was the actual interior part like some of them are. Like I said, on these chassis, you've got to do probably 3 or 4 different sprayings, because usually I'll spray the bottom section like an oxide red. Then I go back and I'll spray, I'll tape off everything, the oxide, and then I'll spray my chassis, my frame, and all that stuff, like a semi-gloss black. I use Tamiya TS29 on all my chassis stuff. Then I would go back and I would tape off everything and spray my gas tank like a silver or aluminum, stainless steel, whatever I decide to use. And then of course I would tape all that off and spray again the interior if you're doing an interior collar, that if this is part of it with no tub. So like I said, sometimes my chassis I'll spray up to 3, 4, 5 times depending on what I need to do. Here's a couple more motorcycle parts that when I turned the styrofoam up, it fell off. But sometimes I just use the alligator clips by themselves. I have a bunch of these without the sticks on them, and I'll just, like I said, I'll do the part, and I have a separate section when I paint, and I'll just sit this down so everything's sitting there like that. Like I said, here's a couple more of them that I use sometimes to hand paint when I got to do stuff. They don't have paint on them, just around the edges. Let's see here. Like I said, I've got 1-inch masking tape. For some reason, the 1-inch, even down the same brand, the 1-inch doesn't work as good on bigger stuff, or doesn't have as much tack to it. So I'll use this on smaller stuff, and a good example of that would be, well, on one of these motorcycle wheels. The toothpick I glued to the inner part of the wheel, so that's attached to the toothpick. But the problem with the toothpick sometimes on some of these parts, it's not enough room to hold it and handle it and be able to stick it down in like my styrofoam where I do, or to put it in where I hang it. Sometimes I'll hang parts hanging down or sideways or something. I've got some places where I do that. So what I do on that case, the 1-inch will come in handy, because you can put your toothpick to the side of your wooden dowel, or like right here I have some of these plastic treat sticks. It's like when the ladies make candy and all at Christmas, or even the men for that matter, because I've made candy too. But at Walmart or any of the craft stores, you can buy these little treat sticks. So I use them, and you can just reuse them and reuse them and reuse them. But anyway, I put the toothpick to the side of the stick, and then I just take the 1-inch and wrap around 4 or 5 times, and that's plenty good on something like that. So if I'm just attaching stuff like that, the 1-inch does good. But for some reason on the bigger stuff, you need the 2-inch. Let's see here. Like the door panels, again, what I would do on that is just put a little tape around the stick or one of my mounting pieces, and again, you just stick your backside, because again, when you paint it, you're not going to see it. So everything again. So a lot of this stuff, and let's see here. Again, I was talking about toothpicks. I keep probably 3 or 4 boxes of these all the time. I go through these left and right. I mean, I'm using toothpicks daily, whether it's painting stuff, whether it's attaching super glue to a part. There is more uses for toothpicks than what you would believe if you just stop and look at everything. I do reuse them. I've got 3 or 4 places on my bench right here that's got used toothpicks. Like I said, when I pull them off the parts, like when I pull this toothpick off this part right here, I'll save the toothpick, because honestly, it's reusable, especially down on the end where I would have been holding it at and stuck it in the styrofoam. So I can reuse this part down here when I'm painting something or attaching glue. So you can reuse a toothpick multiple times. Like I said, I've got probably 100 of them on my bench right here that I'll reuse. But anytime I start putting new parts from a kit, when I start a new kit, I'll just put fresh toothpicks and then hand me them down, so to speak, to other stuff. But again, you cannot have enough toothpicks on your workbench. Let's see here, the body, and I'll go over one of these type chassis too. It's going to be the same thing. You're just going to put, and like I said, all this stuff I'm going over, I'll just say is how I do it. This is what works for me. I'm sure some people would be like, oh man, don't use super glue to attach, you know, to your parts. When I say I use super glue, it is minute. I mean, it is just enough for that toothpick to stick to that part in a certain spot that will never be seen at all on the kit. It will be an attachment spot where you just take your knife and just knock off the super glue, take a file it down. So like I said, I'm not putting a whole lot of super glue on none of this stuff. It's just minute. So anyway, but again, on these, like on this open frame right here, it's a little bit tougher to do because you don't have no floor pan or nothing like that. But you have to, again, you just take your sticks, whatever you're going to use, whether it be one of the, like your candy sticks or wooden dowel, and but you got to come down further with your tape when you come down, and like I said, you want the sticky side out. And then sometimes you have to put a piece of tape across here, that, like I was talking about, 2 pieces. Sometimes you don't. It just really depends. A lot of times I'll start with just the one stick like this with the tape on it, and I'll put it across here, and hopefully it will stick like that. Because really, on a frame like this, you're only going to shoot it to 1 time. You don't have to go back the 3 and 4 or 5 times. You're just shooting this frame satin black, like I said, the TS29. So you would have the upper side up, of course, and like I said, this right here. And just watch when you push this down. You want to make sure you push it down, get a good hold on it. But watch when you do it to make sure none of your tape squeezes down on the side of your frame right here, because when you push it down, if you don't watch, that tape will tend to squeeze down, and then when you spray it and you take everything off, you're going to have a white spot. So just watch. And the same thing if you end up putting the second piece here and to drop your stick down on, same thing. When you squeeze it down, just make sure you're not covering up any of the inside frame right here. Okay, the bodies and the hood. Let me go over the hood real quick, because that's a little bit simpler. Again, probably some people are going to cringe when I say this, but again, it's worked for me for all these years, and if you do it good and you're careful with it, you're not going, I mean, like I said, this is what I do. Most of you have seen my stuff on the table, so you know how it turns out. But anyway, what I would do, I'll just grab a used toothpick right here, but I would have a new toothpick and I put just a small bead of super glue. And that's, when I say small, I mean small. Just run a small piece right there of super glue, and then on the back side of the hood right here, that would fit up against more or less like the firewall area of the car, I just get a small section down here at the end where it's attached like that right there. Like I said, you're not coming way over here. You're not trying to do all that. It just takes a small bead right there and then right there. But when you put the toothpick down, you need to make sure that you hold it dead right on the back side of it and not let it walk under it, walk to the top of the hood. But anyway, I attach it right there. And again, the small bead, because if you put too much on there, another problem you're going to have, it's going to squeeze out, and you don't want that. So the super glue will sit up in just a couple seconds, and then your hood is attached to your toothpick. And again, that's when I will come back and attach it actually to a shorter stick than this, so I can handle it better. But then I would take my toothpick to the stick, and then I'm able to control everything and paint it. And then after everything is painted, I pull primed, painted, cleared, then the toothpick, it will pop right off. And all these parts where I'm talking about, I super glue, the toothpicks pop right off. There's not enough on there, like I said, to really hold stuff permanently. It's just for a short time, you know. So anyway, then what I would do, most of the time I can just take my X-Acto knife and just barely hit it right there, or take a small file and just barely touch it. You get your paint out that you paint it with, and you just take your small brush and you just touch it a little bit, and you're done. And like I said, all my hoods at the shows, if they're not attached somehow or for some reason, they're sitting like this on the table, and everybody can look right there at it, and you can see that you can't tell where it was glued at. So anyway, I know a lot of people are going to cringe. I know a lot of guys are going to say, well, they do it another way, and that's fine. I mean, everybody's got their way that works for them, as I said. So I'm just, like I said, people ask me how I do mine, so I'm going over that. Now the body, again, there's a couple different ways to do it. There's one that most guys do, and honestly, I just don't like it. It just doesn't work good for me. I've actually got a body on it right now, but the testers, like little spin, I call it a little spin table or turntable, because it'll sit right here and it'll spin. I've got this Lamborghini on it right now, and the only reason I've got the Lamborghini on it is because it's an alpha model, and the alpha models are resin, and I just cannot get anything hardly at all, these sticks or the tape or nothing to attach to the alpha models. Some of the smaller pieces I will actually use the super glue, like on the back side and on the front bumper, so to speak, or front midsection, and I'll put some super glue on that, and that'll hold it, because on the alpha models you've got all kinds of attachment points. They're all curbside. You don't have to worry about much of anything other than that. So anyway, I will show this because I do use it if I do like an alpha model, as I said, or something like that. But they're just a pain for me, to be quite honest. So the way I do my kit bodies, and again I would use a shorter stick than this one right here. This is just what I got out right now. I had some laying here. But anyway, back to the tape. And I'll just do a short piece so I'm not wasting so much tape here showing this. But I would just tear it off, and then you roll it where you want, sticky side out, as always. And then I usually use the right hand side door. I don't know why, it's just habit. But sometimes I'll do the left hand door if I just pick your body up different than what I normally do. But along about the center of the car, or right at the door, I put that piece right there where I was talking about. And then I'll go through the whole steps on this, because there's actually 3 steps. So that's step 1. Then like I said, put the tape on there, roll it back so you got sticky side out, and then I'm going to attach that to the tape I just put in. And you want it below, like you want it below so you don't see any of the tape or the wooden dowel sticking up, because when you paint, it's going to leave a sort of like a burr right there, or something sticking up, so it's going to, the paint will build up. So then you've got that like that right there, and it's actually right there. You could paint probably and it would be okay, but sometimes when you're painting, it will loosen up on you. Then what I do is I take a third piece of tape. Now this is a wagon, so I've got a whole lot more room to do this than like with a say a Camaro. That's one of the last things I done, was a '69 Camaro. So what you do, you run it all the way across there, and you want to make sure you get the front and the back past where this first piece of tape was that we put down, because it was right there and it's right there. So then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to trim the extra. I still want some over past that first piece of tape, but we don't need all this where I put down. So I'm going to trim that like that and pull that off, and then come up here to the front and do it about where the front fender well is going to hit. Sometimes you have to go back and trim. Okay, so now you've got that like that. So this top piece of tape will hold down the stick plus that first piece of tape. So when you start spraying, because I'll spray the inside of my bodies too to make sure I get up in the fender wells, that'll keep it from pulling up and so forth. Now the next thing I do, I come over here to the front side, and you've got this tape right here hanging down, because I use the 2" because it's got a little bit more stick to it. I need to trim that right there, get off that fender well a little bit more, because it was sticking out back here. But anyway, if you leave this tape right here hanging down, one of the problems you're going to run into, or could run into, if there's a loose hair or some debris or something or another floating around, it'll get right here. And if for some reason, like I said, if you get a loose hair or something, because Murphy's Law is going to happen if you don't. So what I do, I take my knife and I go just inside underneath right here, and I come across there like that. And then I fold one piece down and I fold the other piece over like that, and there you go. You don't have nothing sticky hanging down here that's going to grab. And then, like I said, I'll use a little bit shorter stick, because a long stick like this you don't have much control over. Even down, if you hold your hand up here, it's still gonna, you just got all this hanging down. So I'll get a stick that would normally come to about right in here, probably hang about 7-8 inches down below the body. That gives me a good hold on it. And then, like I say, right here I've got all kinds of control for my body. I can turn it ever how I need to turn it, flip it, roll it, sideways, whatever. So that's how I do my bodies. Most of the time I can get through primer, and I can get through the body paint, you know, the body color on the car, and in between, you know, sanding and then rinsing it off. After I do, like say the primer, I'll hit it with 3000, and then you got to rinse it off, and then of course go back, shoot the body color. Then you usually hit with 3000 before we go with clear and so forth. So usually after I shoot the body color, I'll pull the body off of the stick and everything, or whatever I'm mounting on here, and then I'll remount everything like I just did to do the clear. And then that way when I do the clear, I've got fresh everything, fresh tape on all of it, and all that. So that's how I do my bodies. Let's see here, one more thing here real quick. Let me show you how, like on, I do a lot of factory stock. Most of the guys that know me know most everything I do is factory stock. So, like the suspensions, like I said, I just got through that 69 Camaro. So underneath all your A-arms, your springs, your rear end, whole lot of the suspension on your factory stock cars are going to be, like I said, the semi-gloss black, satin black, whichever one you want to use, but I use this semi-gloss TS29. So what I do, and even down if it's not suspension, it can be other stuff, but you know, like I'm just using the semi-gloss black as an example, because not only your suspension, but you have, sometimes you got air cleaners, you've got radiators, radiator shrouds. It's just numerous things on a factory stock car that's going to be that semi-gloss black. So what I do, and I'm just going to cut short pieces, because like I said, I don't want to waste all my tape here. But what I would do, and again, these are going to be short pieces, but I can get 3 strips of paint, sorry, not paint, 3 strips of tape across here. So what I would do is tear me off a piece of tape that's just a little bit wider than this piece of cardboard. This is a regular 8.5 by 11 piece of cardboard, like a piece of copy paper. So I would stretch it across there, and then I fold the 2 ends in on both sides, on each end, and then again I would have my second strip here, and here would be my third strip, and again they would be all the way across here, all the way across here, and all the way across here. So then what I would do, I actually don't have no suspension pieces out where I've got pulled out, so I'll just use some of this little stuff I did pull. So I would lay my parts down coming all the way across here, and what I do, the first excuse me, the first coat of semi-gloss black, because it dries quick. Usually you can spray like your first coat, go paint some other smaller parts and all that, and by the time you come back, you're able to flip your parts. Some of your parts you don't need to flip, some of them you do. If you don't need to flip it, then you just pull it off and put it wherever you're keeping your parts while you're getting ready to start on your kit. But the thing you want to do is make sure that the first side up is going to be the side you're not going to see, or the attachment side of a part, or whatever. So like, let's say this was a rear spring. So I want the part up that's actually going to face the underside of the car, because when you flip it over, you want to make sure that the second coat, where you cover the other side of the part, is the side where you're going to see when you look under the car, or like a radiator shroud, you want to see the part that's facing the engine, not up under the front part of the car and all, where you're not going to see. So what you would do is just line your parts like that, and like I said, the tape will hold it. Just push it down, and like I said, most of these parts that I would normally have would be bigger. Like I said, springs, rear ends, radiator shrouds. It goes on, you know, what I would do. Spray everything, let it sit for, like I said, till you get all your other parts sprayed and so forth. When I would do this piece of cardboard to have the tape down and all, I also go ahead and make a second one, and I don't have a second one out here, I just pulled this one out. But I would have it with already the masking tape on it, ready to go. So when this first set got dry, I can just pick my parts up, like, you know, just pick my parts up, and then I go to my second cardboard over here, flip it over. So it's already set, masking tape on it, ready to go. So you're not having to stop and redo another piece of cardboard or change this piece or whatever. A little hint, when you do this, if you've got little small parts, like let's say horns, I know some of the cars have horns on them, or you know, whatever it may be. If it's a small suspension part or whatever, I always run my hand over the masking tape, all three pieces, whether it's the first coat or second coat, don't matter, and make sure, I feel it good to make sure there's no little small parts, because there's been a couple times that I actually pulled the masking tape up to throw away, because I reused my cardboard. This has probably got 50 coats of paint on it. But anyway, when just before you pull the masking tape up, make sure you feel real good that there's no small parts, because if you do, you're going to throw it away. Luckily, the couple times I've done that and overlooked it, I was able to go back to the trash can before the trash went out, and I was able to get my parts, because it dawned on me to go back and check, or when I was pulling the parts off, I'm like, wait a minute, where's such and such part, or whatever. So anyway, just make sure you do that. Here's a littler piece of cardboard, and I should have pulled some wheels out, but like on your cars, you have inner wheels, and sometimes you have the outer wheel that you're going to paint as well, or whatever. So what I would do, see, where's my masking tape? So what I do, I just run one strip of tape across here, and as you can see, it's about like that. It's about the width. So same thing, just tear it off a little bit longer than the width of the cardboard, fold in the ends, put them down, and then you can set like your inner wheels, your outer wheels, or even down any other parts for that matter. But I just usually, like your inner or outer wheel, I just stagger them like this. And if it's only 4, you can really spread them out to make sure you don't get a little bit of overspray or hit. Or if you got an inner and an outer wheel, you can hit, you know, and I zigzag them like that, like you're playing tic-tac-toe or something or other. So that's what I use these little pieces for, or even down for that matter, some of the bigger, like a door panel, I have on occasion, I don't like to do it this way, but I have done it where I'll set like a seat, you know, set my seats like that, but I don't like doing it that way as much as I do putting it on a stick, because when you do it this way, when you're shooting, like say shooting this seat, you're actually respraying this seat, or vice versa and all that. So anything you put on these, oh man, sorry about that, I just knocked stuff. But anyway, you want stuff that's going on these pieces of cardboard that are just sort of flat, nothing sticking up where you got to shoot sideways, or you know, you just want to be able to go right over top of it and go around the edges. So let me look here real quick, make sure I'm covering everything I intended to cover. It looks like it. And everybody asks a lot of times what kind of super glue I use. I use the Loctite super glue. Again, it's very little that I use. I know it sounds bad when you're using super glue to attach your parts, but that's the best thing I found, because if you try to attach it like with white glue or something, and you're trying to paint, I don't trust it. With the super glue, I know it's going to hold, but I know everything's going to break loose with very little anything to notice, and especially everywhere you attach it, it's going to be covered up underneath or not seen anyway. So that pretty well covers everything, I think. So anyway, just wanted to cover that. I know, like I said, some people have asked me how I mount my parts, or how do I paint them. I've gone through the process I use as far as actually painting, as far as sanding and what grits and all that I use on my finishing, sanding and all that. But anyway, I wanted to go over that. I appreciate again all the subs, the likes, the comments, the thumbs ups. I appreciate seeing everybody at the shows. It's always nice seeing you there. So anyway, with that, let's get building.